Good
First,
morning, Erin.
good morning, family. Good morning, Kendra. Thank you so much for having me on the People's Choice Station this morning. I'm the board chair of Fertile Ground Food Cooperative, which is an effort in Southeast Raleigh to organize a community-owned grocery store and cultural center. And essentially, what that means is that we have about 405 owners. We collectively own our grocery store. We share in the risk of that and the profit, and we're in the organizing phase. So I'm really excited to be here this morning with you, Brother Bahr, to talk about fertile ground and all the other stuff we're going to talk about this morning.
Now that is amazing for any individuals, any black individuals to want to feed their people in this day and age where we are so conveniently going to other people to rely on food, to rely on nourishment, and we must always remember that to whom you give the power to feed you is who you give the power to starve you. So what made Fertile Ground want to venture into Southeast Raleigh and create a grocery store?
I've been in Southeast Raleigh for about 20 years, and many of the other members, some of them born in Southeast Raleigh, or they've been there even longer than I have. And one of the things that we struggle with is the deep disinvestment in Southeast Raleigh. When we started organizing, one of the only places that we could eat was, we called it Heart Attack Alley. You know, we had the cookout, we had the KFC, the
Right.
Church's Chicken, Bojangles, all like in the same block.
Yes,
And,
Lord.
we just feel like you go to North Raleigh and you go to other parts of Raleigh, and they have so many options
Indeed.
to
Healthy.
feed folks, and that's also when you have more options, you also have more of a food economy, a food system in your area. And so we just felt like years ago that we wanted something different. And if we'd wanted to start a grocery store that one person owned, well, we could have done that. But that's not what we wanted. We wanted a community-owned grocery store. We wanted a cooperative. And I just say a little bit about cooperatives, if I can. The
Yes,
cooperative
please do, because a
movement-
lot of us don't know the word cooperative or
Right,
co-op. We don't
exactly.
really understand what. So, could you give us a history,
Yes.
and also if you could combine the necessity, because co-oping is a necessity for black individuals.
That's right.
So, if you could give us a brief history and a necessity of co-oping, please.
I will. So co-ops have been around really since the 1700s, but particularly in the United States, the black experience is entirely about co-oping, about cooperative economic development. And again, I need to explain the structure of a co-op is essentially that if we are all going to start the business, we all put in our own money to begin the business. And then as it profits, when it gets to profitability, we sit down and we decide how are we going to spend our profits collectively. One person, one vote. So essentially, and Antoine was just here talking about voting. It operates the same way. It's a democratic organization, one person, one vote. So that history is long in the United States for black folks. There's a book called Collective Courage, The History of Black Cooperative Economic Thought and Practice, that really tells the entire story of the black cooperative movement. And it's written by Jessica Nimhard. Jessica Gordon Nimhard. So mutual aid societies, we would buy each other's freedom. We built schools, we built churches, we built Wall Streets, and we did all of this work together. We supported the black farming movement to help them produce their own vegetables to feed our community, to produce their own distribution centers. And then there's a lot of history even in North Carolina, whereby is, for example, the Franklinton Center at Bricks, which is out in eastern North Carolina, in Whitaker's was a training center for the South, for the black cooperative movement. And so a lot of that history resides here. And essentially, folks look to cooperatives when the system at large is not meeting its needs. So just to say, we live in a deeply racist and capitalist country. Racialized capitalism is abound everywhere, which is essentially where workers are squeezed, our profits of the worker is squeezed so that the owner of the business can extract more money, right? So that's essentially capitalism. The cooperative system is essentially that we would be making those decisions together. We would be sharing in those assets and those resources. And then any business can be a cooperative. So barbershop, radio station, car shop, grocery store, barbershop, any of these things can be cooperatively owned And essentially that allows black people to build enterprises where we share in the promise, we share in the profit, we share in the work, but we govern it collectively so we can eventually practice the art of governing so that, we can run our own communities eventually. And essentially, we at Fertile Ground are looking to build an underground cooperative economy, and we're part of a movement around the country. I'll just say that there are cooperatives in Detroit, there are cooperatives in Atlanta, in Florida, the Gem City Cooperative, Little Africa Cooperative. I mean, I could just kind of go on and on, but I want to share that, it's part of a movement. And in Southeast Raleigh, that's essentially what we're trying to do at Fertile Ground. Please, check us out on Facebook, or check us out on Instagram or Twitter. We'd love to connect with folks about what it means to build our own for our own. Yeah.
So I'm aware that something came across my desk about Fertile Ground getting ready to participate in volunteer training or seeking volunteers to assist in this. Could you say more to that, please?
Yeah, I will say a little bit more about that. We have a great, let me just first say shout out to every Fertile Ground owner out there. Family, I love you and I thank you. We have a new ownership chair who's doing a training on March 22nd, a volunteer training, and we meet every month. We usually meet on the third Saturday, and we meet at the Garfield Community Center in Raleigh on Lenoir. But feel free. We always do announcements on our website. We do announcements online, and feel free to follow us and really come check us out more. The volunteer trainings are important because it's not just enough to ask people to come to meetings. We have to train folks to be able to get skilled up, to manifest the transformative things we need to happen right now for our people. We really are at a crisis. So it's really, to us, also important that we're pouring in community capacity so that folks can not only help us to build the co-op, but build the structures around the co-op. We need the store to be here in 50 years, and it won't happen without deep commitment and investment in our people.
I hope you guys most definitely will listen to all of that information. That is a most definitely a powerful feat. I would like to thank the members of Fertile Ground, being that I'm a native of Southeast Raleigh, and to have a group of individuals to come together to think about employing us and feeding us, and also doing that and teaching us how to do it for ourselves is most definitely a feat that I would like everybody to be a part of. And I thank you again, Ms. Dale, for coming in here and joining me with our 20 for 2020. So I'm going to recap real quick. 1 through 7 I got through a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, here we go.
Number 1. You guys ready? Number 1. Now, let me say again, these are the 20 for 2020, 20 accomplishments blacks in North Carolina need in 2020 to secure our place in our communities on this earth. Number 1, change the way we view, approach, and greet each other. We have to stop believing a lot of fables about each other, that we're no good in business, that we're always trying to rob each other, that we always have a deceit motive with dealing with each other. We have to stop, and this is not every single black person, but it's a lot of us. We have to stop, brothers and sisters, looking at each other, ice grilling each other, not dealing with each other, not speaking, especially if it's a situation where we're the onlys, and it's only 2 of us in a place, and we're the onlys that I know every single person in here is very familiar with and has been in that situation. Right. When we see each other, create that comfortable space for your brother and your sister. Change the way we greet each other. Number 2, say black when you mean black. When it comes to benefits or anything that is owed to the black individual, say black. No more utilization of ambiguous terms such as poverty-stricken, community, low income, minority, people of color. None of these ambiguous terms shall we use when we mean black. If you mean black, say black. Number 3, be mindful, and this is a big, powerful one. Be mindful to center our efforts for liberation around our youth and our elderly. A community is judged by how your youth and your elderly are being treated and how they're taken care of. And it is our responsibility as the in-between generations, whether it's X, whether it's millennial, whether it's Y, whatever the generation you claim, it is our position to make a better for those who are on their way out of here and those who are just entering. Number 4, we must bring health, physical and mental, back into the forefront of our lives as a community. We can no longer eat the way we want to eat just because it's convenient, just because it's cheap. We have to be serious with our physical health, or else the individuals who are fighting and the individuals who are entering, there's no purpose. I was taught, coming up, Brother Doc, I was taught that you literally only have 2 homes, the earth and your body.
That's big.
If you don't take care of those, everything else is a waste of time. Which brings me in a perfect segue to number 5. Make earth maintenance and rejuvenation a priority. Come on, y'all. We are adults. Littering, a lot of the things that we do and participate in as just humans, we kill and damage the earth. Now, I'm an individual that believes, we will never kill and destroy the earth because she will get rid of us long before. And she's working on it with a couple of folks right now. Okay, but I believe that we have to be mindful. And we hear a lot about climate, and the climate, and that's most definitely something we have to pay attention to. But there are other things as well we have to pay attention to that you day to day can do to change. Your plastic use, aerosols. There are a lot of things that you can do that we can, we have to bring Earth back to the forefront so we can be here for forever, or as long as we're supposed to be. And that was number 5. Number 6, and I can't stress this one enough. Support Black business on all levels. Let me say that again. Support Black business on all levels, okay? Because Black business, as in every other business or business that is owned by another race businesses, you're the backbone of the community. Black businesses can be supported in many ways. You can suggest, you can share on social media, you can show patronage. There are so many ways that you can, and I said the other day, I believe, Doc, when you and I were talking, that convenience is the cousin to complacency.
Right.
It is so easy for us to take the convenient route and call Roto-Rooter or a big name plumber. But as Black individuals, take that time to find somebody. Get rid of, which is the number 1 from this, get rid of that number 1 syndrome of I'm going to have a problem if I call a Black individual. Stop believing that. Let that Black individual mess up first.
Hey.
Don't cut your nose off to spite your face. Let them mess up first. Let her mess up first before you automatically say, nah, I'm going to go with a corporate because I know I'm going to have insurance and I'm not going to have to take them to court. Because these are the stigmas that we believe about each other.
Right.
And that convenience, that $20 off, that they're able to give you a discount on, so you're like, well, I'm going to go with this one. We have to be intentional in our situations for getting out of the situation. So we have to sometimes sacrifice that complacency by eliminating the convenience.
Right.
Number 7, this is the one folks have been talking to me about on social media and calling me and texting me about
Speak on it.
for 2 weeks.
Lucky number 7.
Number 7, stay out of white folk face.
Talk to me, bro. That just sound funny, but what you mean, bro? Talk to me, bro.
Now, when I say white, I would like everybody to understand we're talking about whiteness, the mindset, the mentality of white. The illusion of white supremacist culture. So we're not talking about your family members. We're not talking about your friend. We're talking about those individuals who take advantage of their privilege, those individuals who don't educate their own to the ills that they created. That is racism. That's white.
And it's a system. It's not a feeling.
Those who know they're benefiting and do nothing about it. Okay? And I mean dismantling. Because when I say do something about it, sometimes, you know, white folks tend to think I mean dropping coats off in the projects.
Oh, yeah, we did our part. Look out for me. Honey, you should have saw me. I was out there giving $10 away.
It's 40 degrees. We're talking more than doing the wobble at the community event.
Singing the whole
I mean, can I talk about it? Can I talk about it? I don't care how much of Cardi B you know.
Please do.
All right? I don't care how much of Cardi B you know. I don't care how much of the Breakfast Club you listen to. We're talking about, and I have to keep moving on, but we're talking about that white individual, okay?
Gotcha.
And I mean stay out of their face as far as when you look at the majority of the situations that have went viral with us, okay, where we have had white folks just blank on us in apartments and restaurants. You can't even sit at Starbucks, just all of these situations. Right. It seems as if we're always in their controlled and owned spaces. The NFL. We're always in their space. We never hear about incidents in our spaces.
Nope.
So there has to be something to that. And let me give another dynamic too that somebody told me a couple of weeks ago. When I say stay out of white folks' face, that also means jail. That also means court. All right. There are many layers to this. There are levels to this, brother.
Yes.
Stay out their face. Stop calling them, and we trying to rebuild the community. Stop calling them. All right. Stop supporting the efforts. These are and these are the individuals that for thousands of years documented. These white-minded individuals have wiped out nations, and we have to act like, come on. And even if you do feel, and listen, and even if you do feel that has ended and it stopped, it only stopped 57 years ago. All right, so you know you have history of thousands of years of chaos that just ended last week. All right, basically. Okay, so let's be sincere and use our adult minds. When I tell you to stay out white folk face, that means stay out. Stop giving your money and being in a restaurant so they can call you out of your name. Stop going. And that whiteness does not just also mean the skin, because there are other nationalities that have that white mentality, especially when it comes to our commerce. So when we're in their stores as well and they're criminalizing you,
Hurry
all
up
right?
and buy. He said it.
Yeah, hurry up and buy.
Jesus.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes,
When
sir.
they criminalize you, when you can't go to them for your neighborhood T-shirts and cookouts and reunions, when you can't get money for them for your football teams, when you can't get money to them for your back to school drives. All right. Now, like I said, I'm from Southeast Raleigh, and I haven't seen a black-owned convenience store in almost 20 years.
You would think, and then he took a sip. You would think that, that they would just be all over the place.
You would think, and I come from an era where they were.
Oh.
So this is not a phenomenon. I mean, I remember when they were, but I can't think of any black-owned the store. The building, I know some black folks that own buildings that stores are in, but they don't own the store. Okay? So they're not the ones, they're making rent. They getting rent money. So rent could be, even if the rent is $3,000 a month, even in the poorest communities of Southeast Raleigh, these folks are making millions. And these are individuals that not only does the money leave your community, it leaves your country.
True. Hey, we're sitting in the back
say
room.
a little bit more about that, people do we really think about every single time that dollar is going to Bonefish or the dollar is going to Food Lion instead of our own enterprises, then that allows the Food Lion corporate executive to make millions of dollars that never actually return to employ your folks or do anything in your own community. You know, other day we were talking about Fertile Ground, and you said right now everybody's a member of Food Lion instead of being a member of Fertile Ground. Remember Kroger, you're a member of Wegmans because you're essentially giving them all your money, like you're committed to them, you love them, you go there, you look for your stuff. It means something to you. You're essentially then building their economy by how you eat your food and live your life instead of building the alternatives. And I think that there's something else you always talk about. I just want to lift you up for it in terms of building what we need instead of giving away all our resources so they can continue to build.
Well, and you have to look at the design. You have to look at the design that they have. Now, when you talk about Food Lion, when you talk about Walmart, when you talk about any of these corporate places, for one thing, when they don't build single stores in our community. They build shopping centers. They bring their folks with them. They have never bought Shaniqua's Beauty Salon. Walmart will come. It'll be a Dollar Tree. It'll be a shoe show. It'll be a Subway. It'll be some sort of. They will bring the whole team with them. In their community, they will donate to the houses. Lowe's will give lumber. All right. They will give to the schools. This is your money. This is your money that you're giving to them. Meanwhile, on our side of town, let me tell you what's not on our side of town. In Southeast Raleigh, there's no Lowe's. There's none of these industries. I know they may try and come, but I'm not even a big fan of them coming when we can do it ourselves. We can create these industries ourselves and circulating that money in these communities, in our communities, is where the black business's backbone is revealed. Because when you have collectively giving all of your money to non-black individuals, you can most definitely do it to black individuals. So look at that corner store that's knocking down $500,000 a year in profit. Outside of the cost that it takes to run the store, he's still walking away with $500,000. Right. That's our collective efforts. Right there in the flesh, in the community. He's not putting one, I'm not going to put him out there, but I know on my side of town, across the street from me, and anybody know where I live, they know what I'm talking about. But this store, they won't even fix the parking lot. You go in there, you busting tires. Because they don't have to, because you got to come there. You going to come there. Now you look at the front of the stores, there are no signs that show bread, that show the food they have in there.
Cigarettes.
It shows cigarettes, alcohol, tobacco. This where it's at. There are no signs that got bread. Hey, y'all need to eat. We got bread. We got muffins. We got bananas. There are no signs that reveal
Cigarettes
this.
Lottery tickets.
Man, Wild Irish Rose with a half-naked lady up there. So we have to pay attention to how this is killing our community and how the economics tie into the cultural aspects of ruining our community. We have to look at this. All right, I'm gonna keep moving. That's number 7, y'all. Stay out white folk face. All right, number 8. Bank black collectively with agreements. Big emphasis on with agreements. It is not worth us banking black if the blacks never invest. I mean, if the banks never invest back into the black community. If you can't go and get a mortgage, a business loan, a revitalization loan to fix your building, so a personal loan to catch up taxes so gentrification doesn't get you. If you don't have agreements to set up a structure with the community to get that done and have those banks buy properties that big-time developers try and buy, and you set up the arrangement with the bank to buy it just so nobody else has it. If you don't have, if your bank doesn't work with 90 to 99% of the businesses in your community, if your bank doesn't work with 90% of your, at least minimum 90% of your churches in your community, we're killing efforts. We're killing our efforts. I'd like to take a quick moment to call in if you guys have anything to say, you want to talk to Miss Erin Dale, you want to comment on the 20 for 20 thus far, call in. Phone number 919-872-9210, Choice FM. We're going to get into number 9. And this one is powerful too, brother. Stop relying on government, politics, and elections to be the cure-all for black folks.
Voting is a tactic, not a
Voting is a tool, a powerful tool, especially when we're talking about the local elections and the politicians that we see daily. Voting is a tool that we need for liberation or freedom. However, it is not the only illness in our community, and it is not the solvent, gorilla glue, fix-a-flat for any of the problems in the community. Yes. What government can do is assist in solutions for not problems but symptoms. Symptoms of racism, symptoms of gentrification. All right, so we can ask the city to build affordable housing for us to live somewhere, yet we won't ask them to stop letting these folks do this and participate. You follow what I'm saying? We have to get the issue is the racism.
Yeah, I just like to say too that voting.
And you can't vote on racism. I'm sorry.
You can't vote on racism.
You can't vote on racism.
It's like the voting is insufficient if you're not building a base of organizations that have one agenda. If you're not electing and building your own candidates. If you're not raising your own money to control your own candidates. If you're not doing leadership and community development throughout the entire year, just doing it at election season is insufficient. I mean, there are so many problems with the idea that voting in and of itself is going to solve a problem. Indeed. Without a political program and a strategy completely surrounding it to be able to win things beyond a Democrat. When a Democrat wins does not mean black people win anything.
Indeed.
Not a single thing do we win just because they win. We only win when we have the power to hold them accountable to an agenda that we've decided for ourselves. Otherwise,
we have to create that agenda. It is high time, and I'm not talking national here, okay? Because like I said, this is North Carolina. We have to collectively create that agenda. And we have to base that agenda on integrity, meaning that it's values over self-gain. The collective nature of the black in North Carolina versus the position I can get, the money I can get, the advantages me and my team can have, all right? And I'll speak more than that going on, but that is number 9. Again, is stop relying on government politics, especially if we're not, and let me speak on this before I move on one more time, especially if we're not participating in it properly. Like Erin said, if we are not grooming our politicians and our candidates, if we're not putting our money along with our vote, if we don't have, which is key, the agenda, how can they be held accountable to something they know nothing about?
When you said we just react to whomever they put in front of us. We don't groom people from the bottom up.
That's traditionally the black vote is, hey, he marched with Dr. King. Vote for him. Hey, his wife is black. Vote for him. Hey, his family doesn't like, he stopped dealing with his family because they kept using the N-word too much. This is the guy you got to vote for.
And they got my emotion.
And then what we do is our emotion causes us to romanticize about our politicians. And black folks fall in love with our politicians.
Yes, we do.
We fall in love with our politicians, so we might not even know what they're doing to ruin the rest of the world. But if they look good, if they go to church with my mom and them, if I can get that, if I can get to their community, if they come to my community event and I can snap that selfie to post it,
absolutely,
man, that's our thought of political accountability. All right,
so cool, man.
So that makes us that is not the proper participation in politics. It builds no power.
Trying to be their friends builds no power for our friends.
And if you live in and oh, here it go. If you live in Raleigh, you can barely tell you have black politicians. By the nature and the culture of the society.
Well, you know, it's not
When
often
do you
that you hear a black politician in Raleigh say the word black.
You don't even hear him say black.
Say that aloud
You know, I heard a politician say, you know, when I hear politicians say black is when they say not just for black folks.
Ooh.
That's when I hear a politician say black, when they say not just for black folks. And call me on it and prove it. A lot of our politicians don't even have cultural features. Beard, naturals, dashiki in it. You can barely catch. Okay, let me move on. Let me move on.
Take them right out the race.
Number 9.
Yeah, we ain't ready for that.
I'm just saying, you can, brother. Let me tell you something. Yeah. You know, when me and you and I didn't even know each other, but we seen each other and was like, brother, what's up?
Right.
Because we seen each other. That cultural feature is a big thing. Same with you, brother, when I met brother here. That cultural feature lets me, you know, that's how locks, that's one of the ways in culture of locks, so we can recognize each other. That's one of the advantages. All right, before it became real popularized of the commercial locks, all right, that if I saw you and you look like me, okay, I automatically know. Yes, ma'am.
We had a politician, we won't name names, that said to us at one point that they didn't want to appear too black and that they were concerned about, you know, appearing too black as a politician. And I just really think it's important for us to understand that deep black love is essential to building power and changing conditions. So if you are scared to go out in the world as a black person, scared to be representing our own community, then I am scared to vote for you, because how do I know you won't turn your back soon as you walk into the corner room? Do you see what I'm saying? Cannot trust politicians or elected officials, or any leader for that matter, that is actually scared to fully represent the joy of who we are, the brilliance and the beautiful nature of black people. So if folks are unable to do that, then we should be deeply concerned with how they can lead us anywhere, you know, other to like the benefit of themselves. Real deep criticism of the political process, and folks should be paying attention to that. You don't even have to say anything. Just watch it. It will show itself.
Your ancestors did not die for you to vote for a criminal organization. Let's move on. Caller. We have a caller. Thank you for calling in.
Good afternoon. Well, good morning. It ain't after 12. I'm just calling in because I'm really understanding what the brother's speaking on the topic about the blackness in Raleigh, in Southeast Raleigh, period. Because this new mayor we have, I haven't seen her speak in our behalf or even address our issues in Southeast Raleigh. And it's a lot of these politicians today asking for our votes and classifying us as Afro-Americans. You know, come on, man. Like you said, let's start identifying ourselves as black people upon this earth. Well, we the original ones who walked upon this earth, who gave everybody the knowledge and the understanding of who self is.
That's right, brother. One of the major...
You know? So you keep speaking strong, brother, because I'm feeling that. I'm at my little part-time trying to get that grind on. So I'm still listening, man.
Thank you,
and
brother.
Peace and blessings to all
blessings
black
to you too,
people
brother.
in this leap year of Black History Month.
That's right, brother.
All right?
Yes, brother. And the brother spoke, you know, he spoke right on time, and he spoke to something else, and I really have to move on, but let me drop this one more thing, is that we have to take back our power of definition. We have been living too long under what they describe, what the dominant society describes, and that's what we built. But sanity for the European is insanity for the African. Their definition of intelligence is the actions that you create to make their life better, to make their existence better and secure their existence. When the real definition of intelligence is actions you take to solve your own problems, to get your people's problems. We cannot allow them to continue the power of definition. Let me move on. Number 10, and this one speaks directly to our queen in here today. We most definitely in North Carolina have to create a sustainable food source in black communities on almost every 100 counties of North Carolina. Again, I say, if we can't feed ourselves, we cannot fight. You can hang it up. All our enemy has to do, whoever our enemy is, whoever your enemy is, if you are relying on them to feed you, all they have to do is starve you out. Keep you contained through gentrification in one area that has been labeled as a food desert and starve you out while they control also the transportation to get you in and out that area. Y'all better recognize the necessity of feeding yourself. If you don't want to go back to the farm, find somebody who does. Erin and I are creating an online gardening club, all right, just so we can deal with other folks that grow at their house and we get advice and talk to each other because, trust me, I promise you, that yard will look much better when you have a grocery store coming out of it than just beautiful grass.
I wanted to say, too, on this thing, that you're speaking to, is that, we got to put our mind toward building power for our own community so that we can have the infrastructure to feed, clothe, house, educate ourselves. And this is something that Bahr has been talking to me about for years and literally transformed the way I think, because I thought that fighting and getting people out to vote, and Erin has gotten a lot of people out to vote. Erin had a job for 12 years, and Erin's job put 300,000 people registered. It's called Blueprint, and it's led by another person named Serena, and the Blueprint is amazing. But my point is that after nearly years of doing that work, years of perfecting voter engagement work, it occurred to me that I can increase voter turnout across the state, and my neighbors still can't eat. I still can't employ my own children in my own enterprise. I can't do any of those things. And so this infrastructure we're talking about, you said food, but I just want to say it's also all the other things that we need to be able to do for ourselves.
Indeed, and that is an excellent segue into number 11. Buy property individually and collectively. We have to, if you can find a better way to combat gentrification than buying it yourself, I'm all ears. Because I guarantee you the process that some of us taking, which is to ask our oppressors, I guarantee you that's not going to do it. There is no politician that can do anything about gentrification. They may can have an assist in some houses that are cheap enough for you to live in, okay? But that is just one aspect, and that's a very minute aspect of gentrification. When you think gentrification, I see a lot of my folks in Raleigh who are constantly talking about gentrification. They're speaking on residential, alleviating commercial. Alleviating that you can't rent a space with our businesses struggling, and if I have a business I want to open, I'm paying $5,000 a month, and next door to me is a Domino's Pizza. All right? We cannot forget the commercial gentrification because we need a black town. We need somewhere where you can go and the shopping center and everything is black and you can get all of your services done, and that community can be replicated in other counties and other parts of Raleigh. So we have to also, as far as the collective nature of just owning something, co-oping and owning land to do anything with, to build housing. There's no law that says we can't build the housing we're seeking at all. None at all. If Europeans can come to this land and put their coins together, if other folks can come here and put their coins together collectively and create situations to where they're all millionaires within 10 years, let's keep it real, a little too real. Number 12, and this one right here is close to my heart. Build, support, and rely on black media. If you are forever getting your source of your information from the dominant society, 90% of what you're receiving is propaganda geared to condition your mind.
Yes.
If you are forever calling on dominant media, you are forever giving them the power to provide your narrative. There is a credo for the black press to advocate for black individuals. And that is absent in Raleigh. That is absent in a lot of towns down east. That is absent. And we have to go to the dominant society to get them to tell our stories. A lot of our black media is filled with sports, entertainment, and fighting. And then the one that has the most effect on our lives is the political aspect. But when you get the political aspect, it's from a white journalist and his white mindset, from his white business and his white perspective, given to you on how you're supposed to utilize it for you and yet not assimilate. That's a prescription for insanity. If you do not support black media and have somebody to advocate for you, somebody to be able to reach. When you look at Frederick Douglass, when you look at the ultimate organizer, Marcus Garvey, when you look at the richest billionaire of Amazon, what else does he own? A newspaper. Oh, yeah. Frederick Douglass owned a newspaper. Marcus Garvey, a newspaper. The final call. Can I say the final call? We have to recognize the importance of media in a community, and we have to support and exclusively identify black media, the Black First Network, Choice FM.
You were telling me too about a couple of media outlets that I told you about that I used to listen to and watch and all that. Like, they're not even owned by black faces.
They're not. The people think The Root.
Yeah.
People actually thought The Root is a black owned. Root's not black owned.
Fooled me. Bro.
Nah, because we're so used. Because they know the power of it.
Yeah.
They know the power of it. Come on, and you know what we looking for. Come on.
Play right into that one, man.
Listen, let me tell you, if y'all don't get this black media, somebody else, you know who's gonna be telling your story?
Eminem.
Number 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bro.
Stay out white folk face. And that includes the media. That includes the media. We got to keep it real now. Number 13, and this one right here gonna touch some souls, but we're gonna talk all the way about it. It's time to hold the black church to task. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Now, we're not even talking about the religion and my personal views on it. We're not even necessarily at this moment talking about money and pastor pulling money out his pocket. We're talking about reality of the war of the majority of your congregation. Half of your congregation has to work for people who don't have their best interests in mind. They have to get loans from those very same individuals. They have to do and rely on them more than you. The black church is the only place that I can think of where you can gather 300 people every week, black, minimum. Name another infrastructure where you can get 300 plus people dedicated every week.
Sometimes on Wednesdays too.
Man, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. Not only do you get them to do that, you get them to practice collective economics without them even knowing. Sometimes, even with being shamed into it, you get shamed for not tithing. This is not me and your grandmama church. The church today got your tax information.
Yeah.
You got to apply for church.
They know it all.
Now think of that now. You have to apply to be a member of the church with an option that you could possibly be turned down. at some churches. And I don't feel I should have to say, you know, not every church. People should have common sense to know I'm not speaking of each and every single church. Because there are some churches I just recently heard about, you know, that are doing some. I heard a church recently that I was talking to with a sister on Facebook, her church, and the pastor was in the pulpit talking and telling everybody to read Brother Amos Wilson, Blueprint to Black Power, Sunday morning at church. And I said, sister, that's beautiful. And this sister knows I'm not a church individual, but that's a beautiful thing right there. How could you not disseminate information when you have the ability to gather 300, 600, 800, 1,000 every week, dedicated, give you money, don't question. They don't question. Your pastor could fly up in a helicopter and your Uber could be late and you don't say a word at the church. You feel me? We have to talk about it. We have pastors, listen, we have pastors that got these buildings. I'm not even gonna step there first. Let me go back to this. Why pastors beefing like gangs? Why churches don't work together and build houses for their community? Yeah, we got some churches that own apartments, that do housing programs. A lot of them do housing programs through our oppressors, catalysts. But hey, it helps get black women out the street with their babies. I'm not going to knock that. However, what I'm talking about is not instead of, I'm talking about in addition to. So in addition to going with them programs that the city or the county or whoever go, how are your 700 and whatever black churches in your city comfortable every Sunday morning with knowing it's a black woman with 3 babies staying in a hotel? How is that possible?
Giving you the last of her dollar.
How is that possible that the black church in Raleigh is comfortable with gentrification causing an old woman to lose her home or lose her apartment or whatever the case may be, where she has to move in a hotel at 74?
After being there a whole life. Oh, my God.
There is no excuse for it when that is happening. And let me tell you something. And I believe we were talking the other day, brother. Me and you and Brother Rico were talking about how I have no problem with a pastor being paid.
Right.
I don't care if your pastor make $300,000 a Sunday, as long as the congregation making the same.
Yes, we got to reflect it. Yeah.
Getting this benefit.
Getting the benefit.
Quality of life improvement for the entire community.
You should be embarrassed if you pull up in a $500,000 automobile and people are catching Ubers to hear you speak, and you supposed to be saving them and making the quality of their life better. That sort of identifies that you're just preparing them to die, and then they will receive their heaven. You should be ashamed of yourself. You don't feed the homeless. You house them. They're homeless. All right.
It's too expensive.
You don't feed the homeless. You house them.
Oh my God.
They're homeless, y'all. You feed the hungry. You house the homeless.
Oh my God.
Can I move on?
Please, man. Oh my God.
That was number 13. Here's another thing. Y'all got these buildings. These churches got these buildings. Some of them closed 6 days out the month. Building got 47, 84 rooms. And we got sisters who are working, who can't even have a solid place for their babies to be after school. And the ones who can got to pay $40,000 a day for somebody to watch their child. And your pastor got a Benz that's almost $200,000. And you don't think that behavior has an effect on your quality of life. Sounds like a prescription for an illness to me. Direct. Number 14. And this is what the whole thing is about. We have to normalize as the black, beautiful, resilient, genius people that we are. We have to normalize critical thinking. know when to operate off of logic versus emotion. We cannot keep just jumping, being media driven. When was the last time black folk you seen on Facebook post about them little babies in the detention center? Ain't nobody we're not talking about it no more. Because that white media is driving us and they not talking about it no more, so we not talking about it no more. So that shows that we are wrapped up in their issues versus our own. All right? We have to end that. That has to end. So we have to start critically thinking and stop embarrassing people who say, but what if? Stop shaming black folks. Stop thinking that they're crazy because they say, y'all, but what if that ain't it? Because they have more logic because you have been trying the same thing since your granddaddy and your great-granddaddy. It has not moved us an inch. So it's okay for somebody to say, wait a minute. Let's recollect. Somebody hit factory reset. Because my screen on the fritz. Let me keep it moving. Let's keep it moving, y'all. Number 15, and I can't stress this enough, and this goes especially for my sisters, my queens, my beautiful black women. Y'all, become gun owners and learn self-defense. And brothers, we got to defend these black women with this sex trafficking, with the kidnappings, with domestic violence, with bad relationships, with the fad of just violent culture that sometimes we succumb to. Sisters need to know how to fight.
We the most unloved women on the planet, the mules of the world. And so we would really, and I appreciate that you started with us actually learning self-defense and how to defend ourselves and raising up brothers, being in alignment with that as a way of being. I want to appreciate the way you structured that, because you didn't say women wait for men to defend us. What you said was, sisters, we got to get it together. We need self-defense classes. We need to know how to defend ourselves, because what's happening now is the crisis is having this white nationalist violence. They are killing us in the streets right now again, just like yesterday. This is not, I'm not exaggerating. Folks need to get online and pay attention to what is happening right now in this country.
All right, we're going to go now to number 16, correct? 16, and this one is even more important, you guys. Argue, shame, and fight in private. All of us say things that generalize our disdain and our upsetness for us being upset for black individuals in our situation. I understand that. But naming black individuals, especially locally, trying to embarrass them, trying to shame them, when we let our oppressors see us do this, I guarantee you've given them 50% more power. You've hit reset and they love it. Stop embarrassing us and fighting. We have to take that in private. Call these individuals. Keep it in-house. 2 brothers in a burning house, 2 sisters in a burning house have no time to stop and fight and argue. We have to be smart, and we have to understand strategy. War begins on paper and emails first. So we have to be smart with what we put on social media. We have to be smart with what we say about each other, especially when I can call you and cuss you out. And you can ask any of my politicians who got the phone number. That's what I do. I'll call them, and I say, yo, what's that about? All right. I'm going to end it right here, but I'd like to lift this up one moment, if I could. There's a event going on today at the Vital Link by Sister Erin Byrd called Raleigh Remembers. It's pertaining to the death of Brother Akil Dingus, who was murdered by Raleigh police in 2016, shot. And we need to remember this brother. This brother represented Southeast Raleigh and the community, and I'd like to send a shout out to Erin Byrd, and I want y'all to go to her event and remember all of these young brothers and sisters who died at the hands of police violence. When we talk about gun violence, it's always talk about each other, but gun violence is gun violence, and the police are the ones who I know who've been killing folks. Thank y'all for listening to Aaron Dale. Thank you for joining us.
See you at 3 p.m. at the Vital Link.
Thank
you for having me.
Thank you, and I thank you guys for listening to A Little Too Real with Bahr Jervay. Join me again. Peace.
Are we ready?
A Little Too Real with Bahr Jervay. Saturdays on Choice.
This is
WRSV, Elm City.
Turn Up.
Choice FM.
Working on a weekend like usual. Way off in the deep end like usual. Swear they